What is up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Charles, mXrevival, mXrevival.com. I'm out here with the beautiful Project THNDRCRAKR. This thing came out so sick. If you guys missed last week's reveal video, I will link it down below. You do not want to miss it. Definitely check it out. Reveal videos are when I tend to get a little artsy, put some metal music to a bike build, and just sort of show it off. So I have a lot of fun doing those. And speaking of which, I have been insanely busy. Sorry to have not kept up better with the comments on last video before that. I like to get at all of you guys, and I've just been running around like a madman. A lot of filming with THNDRCRAKR. A lot of editing with THNDRCRAKR, a lot of photos and content with THNDRCRAKR. Yesterday, I drove 6 hours down to Southern California, did all the Dirt Bike Magazine photos with your bike, drove 6 hours right on back home, and so I've just been running, trying to play catch up like crazy. At any rate, in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about a few very important things. First of which, we're gonna do like an editor's cut, I guess, on this bike. I'm going to talk to you guys about everything that went into it, because everything you've seen has been spread out over a lot of episodes, and a lot of new guys may have only seen the last 1 or 2 episodes. So I want to go over everything I did, everything I used, all of the amazing people that helped on the build team, shed some light on that. And then also I want to go ahead and announce the official dates for when I will be awarding and giving away this badass bike. And so yes, if it's your first time here, you can enter to win this bike on mXrevival.com. You've already missed out on thousands of dollars of MX prizes that I've just been giving away in every episode just because, like an added thank you for you guys who entered to win this bike. As a lot of you already know, I'm going to be donating a portion of the proceeds to Road to Recovery. And not only that, our dear friend Cameron, who is also a fellow bike builder and is recovering from leukemia. So today we're going to go over all the badass parts on your bike. We're going to go over the live stream dates for when I give it away, and then we're going to talk about the grand finale of MX giveaways, so you guys haven't actually missed all the MX parts giveaways just yet. When I award this bike, I have a ton of stuff left to give away. I have Billetron carburetors, cylinder heads, decal kits. So I'm going to go ahead and go over all those things as well, and whatever I may miss, because I'm going to be going from memory, I will get into my email, and then I will add all of these things that are yet to be given away down in the description as well. So get excited about that. So killer bike, good cause, lots of prizes, tons of cool shit happening the whole way through, and I'm just getting started. I already have some ideas for the next bike build, and that brings me to my next order of business, which is we are moving back to Idaho. I lived there for a time, started the company there, originally from California. My wife just accepted a job offer in the Boise area, so we're actually going to go back, and so that's actually going to put the kibosh on the bike building for a minute, although as long as I have a few special tools and a few projects wherever I end up in the meantime, we're going to be waiting on one of our homes out there to free back up. We'll be in an intermediate space, so as long as I have some things to tinker with, I can still keep kicking ass on these videos for you guys. I do not want to miss a Saturday. And so let's get after it. Yesterday was really cool when I went down to LA real quick to link up with Mark Tilley. I actually interviewed him. I was going to present one of my interviews with Icons videos to you guys, but something happened with the camera. The footage got corrupted, and then the camera shut off, and I didn't realize it. So we talked for like 30 minutes, and I didn't capture any of that shit. So next time there'll be a lot more work with Dirt Bike Magazine. At any rate, I'm gonna go ahead and start from the top of the bike, because in my head, when I do posts on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff, and I start tagging sponsors, I visualize the bike, and I try not to miss anybody as I add tags and go down the bike from the handlebars all the way to the wheels. And so having said that, one of our first guys on board was my buddy Jason Gerald at Phoenix Handlebars. He always supports my builds, has an amazing handlebar company. He always throws in a custom bar pad for me. He actually takes a bunch of time to design and produce all the graphics for a special bar pad. There's a special message underneath this bar pad. You guys may have seen it if you watched the reveal video. And overall, a really comfortable set of handlebars. Thank you so much, Jason. End of those handlebars, we got some of Jason's 50/50 grips. They're really comfortable, not too hard, not too soft. Tied that in with some of his gold safety wire, which actually comes free if you order a set of his grips. So the cockpit and the control is very comfortable, looks great, feels great. The gold safety wire matches the fork tubes, the cylinder head, and the shock very well as the nipples on the wheels. And so I'm always pumped and grateful to have Jason on board, as I am with everybody. I have an amazing build team. You guys know there's no shortage in this very stacked roster of dudes that help me do what I do, dudes that trust me, dudes that help me bring stuff like this into fruition. And so at the end of those controls, I'm also using a ZRT throttle. Now if you guys have not heard of zero resistance throttle, it is a sick ass CNC cut throttle that actually rolls on bearings, both where it contacts the bars inboard, and then the end, there's actually a bearing insert in the bar that the tube rides on as well. So this thing never touches the handlebars. It's completely drag free, and you guys have seen me do the test where I give it a whack and it just sort of spins forever. So really nice, really smooth. I've never gotten dirt in one. I got 3 years on my RMZ with one of those throttles. And then on top of that, they're really hard to break. I haven't broken one yet. Also has options for you barkbuster guys. Now moving forward from there, this product is really all over the bike, but in my head, as I mentioned, I go through the tags on Instagram and I visualize the bike. The next thing you'd see was some bolts from a Bolt Motorcycle Hardware Pro Pack. And again, like I said, those are all over the bike. That thing has got handlebar mount bolts, pinch bolts, exhaust joiner for the 2 pipes, pipe springs, axle nut. It's got all the pinch bolts for the fork lugs, all the bolts that hold the brake calipers on. It even has all the little cup washers and small screws that hold the chain guide on the swing arm. Like, that thing is pretty much endless. I still have a lot of it left over, as a matter of fact, so that will be benefiting other bike builds down the road even, and I'm already done with this bike. So those kits are pretty incredible for how little they cost. Comparably, you'd spend a couple $100 on buying all those bolts for your bike one by one. And having said that, today guys, I carry a lot of this stuff because these are all things that I love, and that's why I build with them, and that's how these relationships were even formed. So everything that I can, I will link in the description below. Moving down from there, something else that is all over this bike, the engine, the clamps, the brakes, you name it, is the Glock Gray Cerakote from Sano Metal Finishing. Chris put in a ton of time prepping, spraying, blasting, and just reworking so many things on this bike with special coatings. The only thing on this bike that isn't coated is the cylinder and the radiators, to be honest. And so he did an amazing job. Very grateful to have Chris on board. Next up, moving down my little tag stream here, we have AHM Factory Services. These guys killed the suspension. No stone was unturned on this. It's completely rebuilt inside and out. We went ahead and did the RMZ gold on the fork tubes and the shock body. All the shafts are DLC coated. Any little part that normally you can't get done is redone, anodized, whatever it may be. Fork center caps have been replaced. This thing, it just came out ridiculous. Next up guys, we've got Decal Works on board. Decal Works took my vision for this THNDRCRAKR jet, this 1980s Transformers cartoon, and helped me bring it to life. My buddy Tommy and I went back and forth several times trying to capture all the elements from that cartoon character, and I think we absolutely nailed it. There were just a couple colors in this jet. We had the blue in the wings, some red in the wings, we had some gold on the jet's windshield, which effectively are the fork, shock, and cylinder head, and then we had some heavy dark colors like in the forearms and the legs of the jet, and all those things were covered by the Cerakote, those darker, heavier colors. And so everything tied in just awesome. All the slashes on the bike were the same slashes on the jet's wings, and I just love the way it came out. And I don't even need to mention all of the sheet metal and rivets look to capture the jet vibe all the way. Really excited about this thing. Next up, we've got my buddy Josh from 3DP Moto. Josh made us custom brake line guides front and rear on this bike. He also made us some trick swing arm plugs with the Decepticon logos in them. All these parts are 3D printed. The project name is in the front brake line guide. Just amazing what you're able to have come out of a printer nowadays, and brake line guides are really just the beginning. So Josh, you killed it on those. Thank you very much. Moving along, you guys may remember the episode where I showcased the Revolution tank and shroud for YZ. It's a special kit I import from Italy for you guys from Artec, and this particular tank and shroud is a really European looking tank where the shrouds attach underneath the seat rather than in the sides of the tank like the stock Yamaha 2-strokes. It's got a little bit of faux carbon fiber up top, looks really good. And then of course I coupled that with an OEM body in the rear. The 2015 through 21 style with the special white air box is also an Artec product. The tank's also a little bit lower and it holds a little bit more fuel, so that's also a really nice perk. And then underneath the tank and shrouds we have some OEM radiators that were straightened back to perfection by my buddy Brett at ICW Radiators. These things were twisted when I took the bike apart, and I just knew he was the right guy for the job, so he untwisted them. They were like literally laser straight, and then I went ahead and filled those suckers up with Evans waterless coolant. This stuff doesn't boil over. It can't turn to steam because there's no water in it, and all in all it just keeps the bikes running a lot cooler. So I didn't know much about the product until the last T1000 build, and so I'm really glad I was able to link up with those guys because that is a really cool and awesome product. If you're using it in your car, it even has a lifetime warranty. Alright, what's next in my tag list? We're going down the tank, we did the radiators and the coolant. I guess that leads us to the seat. Alright, so The seat, my buddy Pete at Traction MX killed the seat. He took the theme that I presented to DecalWorks and just nailed it. We sent a couple color chips over from DecalWorks to Traction MX so he could match the colors and the stripes, and he did exactly that. He embodied the jet. We've got the white base, 2 different color blue stripes, and then a red, and it just ties in perfectly. Pete's also going to throw in a seat cover for you guys here during the grand finale, so I'm pumped about that. Pete, you did an amazing job. I love the material. The seat cover you did on my RMZ 450 is over 2 years old, and I still haven't worn it out. The foam is sacked, but the cover is still good. Underneath the seat, I have a pre-oiled, no-toil air filter. Not only are those filters just amazing, you rip open the bag and put the filter in and go ride and you're done, but they're also super easy to clean. And when I reached out to Ryan to be a part of this build, instead of giving me extra pre-oiled air filters for you guys, he went ahead and just kicked in 5 $100 no-toil gift cards, which is another giveaway I have coming. Easy to use, easy to clean, killing it on the giveaways. I have nothing but good things to say about no-toil. And so moving down from the filter, we go to the engine, and I usually start by tagging Luke from Fathead. We have a Fathead Racing cylinder head. This thing was sent out with the suspension as a raw aluminum piece, and we did that so that we could make sure that the anodized gold on the cylinder head was done at the same time as the fork tubes and the shock body. That way they would all match and it came out killer. And right before that, Luke went ahead and laser engraved or laser etched, I'm not sure, the project name into one side, THNDRCRAKR, with the Decepticon logo, and then the other side we did a classic mXrevival in the same font as THNDRCRAKR. Came out really cool. In fact, I learned that if you etch the head first and then anodize it, that white laser color actually turns black, usually in the anodizing. So we have a little bit of that going on. Something different, really cool looking. Underneath that, we've got your original cylinder, but it was reworked by Power Seal USA. Those guys completely refreshed the bore, got some new Nicosil and cross hatching in there. The cylinder was wasted. At the top of the stroke, the piston had just about eroded all the way through the factory Nicosil, and there was just this bare spot inside the cylinder bore. Cylinder came back with a bore matched piston and a top end gasket kit. Just perfect. Thank you, Power Seal. I went ahead and vapor blast the piss out of the cylinder thereafter, so it's very shiny, very glossy, even though when it came back from Power Seal, it almost looked vapor blasted. They do an amazing job cleaning cylinders. I went ahead and did the same thing to the radiators. Those are nice and shiny. Something that didn't get a lot of coverage during this build because I never actually got to see it. All the parts went from me to Sano, from Sano to Jim Hasker, who we'll get to in a minute. Hasker Racing Engines assembled our engine. That would be the micro polished transmission. Sano actually has an REM super finishing machine. They can throw parts in there, completely polish the transmissions up, so when you're shifting, there's less drag. They shift a lot smoother. Basically racing stuff, really cool. So this thing has a micro polished tranny in it, which, like I said, didn't get a ton of coverage, but I wanted you guys to know about it. So we don't just have like a cool looking engine. We have an engine that actually has a fully rebuilt crank from Crankworks. That was something that Jimmy offered. A micro polished transmission. I went ahead and re-zinced all the studs that hold the cylinder, all the studs that hold the cylinder head, all the collars that press into the back where the swing arm connects, the shift lever tip, the brake pedal tip. I sharpened that. I re-zinced everything I just mentioned. Everything looks really, really good. There's no stock looking parts on this bike. Anything that would have looked stock, like the axles or the other parts, they look like chrome, because I zinced the shit out of them. And tying in with all the zinc, the Bolt motorcycle hardware kit matches all my zinc really well. All the bolts look brand new. They all look like chrome. The gift that keeps on giving. Not herpes. Bolt motorcycle hardware pro packs. I guess I'm getting into the Hasker Racing Engines territory. Jimmy took all the parts that I had ready, like the cylinder, the custom fathead cylinder head, all the parts on the bottom end that Sano micro polished or Cerakoted, and he assembled all this stuff for us. Jimmy is a master engine builder with an emphasis on safety, and so he's a really great guy to have on the team. You guys may have noticed this is not the first project bike he's done my engines in, and there's a reason for that. Topping the engine itself off, we have some Luxon covers, both left and right on the ignition and the clutch. The clutch is actually a deepened well which holds a little bit more transmission fluid, and then it's pretty plain to see that we also scrubbed the Luxon logos off, the original ones. Then Billy at Luxon went ahead and re-etched Decepticon heads right into each one of these after Sano Cerakoted them, and they just came out amazing. There's nothing else like this out there. The bike is one of a kind, and we would have had some Luxon split clamps on here, which you guys may have already seen, or maybe on my YZ300 build, but there just weren't any available. That would have been probably like the one last thing I would have loved to have on this bike, but we're doing pretty good with that Glock Gray from Sano up there. Actually, I didn't mention it, those triple clamps are off of a 2006 YZ250F, which also means the suspension is triple S, and so is the shock. So we have a fork and shock swap from a much newer bike and actually got you some triple S suspension on this steel frame chassis. What do you think of that? So this thing is going to track like Velcro on dirt. Coming out of the engine, the Hyuga Performance handmade cone pipe. That thing is in a league of its own. It is sick. These pipes make amazing power. They're a little bit thicker gauge steel than normal pipes. I think they're the same gauge as like the gnarly off-road pipes, 18 gauge. And that's really nice because when you get a handmade work of art like that, you want it to be a little bit more robust. And so these things make way more power and they look way better than just about any pipe I can even think of. So Steve, thank you very much for being a part of my builds. I am a Hyuga Performance super geek. And we may as well mention the Pro Circuit silencer in the back. It was one of the only pipes that was actually in stock anymore, like anywhere, and I'm a huge Pro Circuit fan too, so we went ahead and put a 304 silencer on this bike, and it pairs really well, mounts perfectly with Steve's cone pipe. Now we talked about stuff leaving the engine with the exhaust pipe. Let's talk about air and fuel going into the engine. You may have noticed we have the brand new Billetron carburetor from Lectron on the bike. This is an all new model. It just came out a couple months ago. Some of you know I got to prototype test this before it was officially released for production, so that was really exciting for me. Got to fine tune it, iron some kinks out on the RM250. We just missed getting one of these into T1000, so it's really awesome to have a Billetron on this bike. This thing is amazing compared to the old Lectron, and that was a good carburetor already. It has so much more bottom end. It actually feels like a perfectly jetted Kian, which is the carb that comes in these YZ250 stock, except you guys already know the Lectron doesn't have jets like a Kian. Past that, it looks really cool. It's now a one-piece billet design. It just looks really cutting edge, and anybody that's still making products for two-strokes as old as this one and even older are just fine in my book. So Lectron, Brooks, and Brooks 2. You guys can argue over which one of you is Brooks 2. Thank you guys very much for being a part of what I do. And I know I already mentioned it, but when I get into the giveaway list, I have 2 more Billetrons to give away at the grand finale when I give the bike away. So stay tuned for that, guys. Pete, we talked about Ryan, we talked about Luke, we talked about Power Seal Chris, talked about Sano again, we talked about Steve's cone pipes, we talked about all the zinc bullshit, we talked about Billetron. I'm looking at the bike trying to figure out what I'm missing because there are a couple in my head, but I'm seeing like I zinc plated the shock collars on top of the spring, I zinc plated the sprocket and the output shaft nut, like all kinds of weird little things. Like I said, like nothing on this bike looks stock, because it's not. Another really awesome product on this bike are the brake master cylinder lids or caps. My buddy John at 2SM Performance manufactured these from scratch just for this bike. I actually sent him the old master cylinder cap for the rear, and I guess he reverse engineered it, started making his own, and then he went ahead and armor black Cerakoted both the caps, front and rear, to match the little bit of black that Sano did for us, and then went ahead and actually engraved Decepticon logos in those caps. So another piece you cannot find anywhere else. Everybody involved on this build just has such a high level of craftsmanship, and everyone kills it at what they do. So John, you did an amazing job on those. Thanks for getting them out my way. They look really cool on the bike. Now I'm kind of getting down to a low point on the bike, which brings me to the wheels. You guys all know I am a SM Pro Platinum wheel lover, importer, user, and so with these wheels I wanted to do something that was a little bit different, and I think we pulled it off. We've got the blue hubs, we've got the black spokes, we've got the gold nipples, which were thrown into that combination in order to tie in with the fork, shock, and cylinder head as mentioned earlier, and then we went with a classic gloss black rim. And to top those off, we went ahead and laser etched THNDRCRAKR and the Decepticon head right into the hubs, both front and back, and so they are extremely cohesive with the entire build. And guys, if I'm being honest, I actually need to look at my Instagram and check one of my photos and see all the tags. Like, the last thing I want to do is miss somebody. That's the worst feeling in the world. I think I've got it pretty much memorized, but it's definitely worth looking at here. There are a couple special mentions, people I would like to thank. One of those being my buddy Brian. He owns Onium Goggle Company. They kicked this contest off for us. They're not a bike part, so it's not on the bike, and I just want to make sure I give them enough love. They donated 6 pairs of goggles in the very first episode of this build series, and that was just amazing. Right out of the gate, I had 6 winners of really trick looking goggles, and he's even given me a few codes for the grand finale. So guys, that means the world to me. Thank you for believing in what I do. Thank you for hooking my riders up with literally the coolest goggles I've ever owned. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate that. The second very worthy mention, Josh Graham, if you're watching, dude, I don't even know what to say about you. You've entered this contest with so many donations. My mind is just blown. All of you, whether it's a $20 donation or a $100 donation or wherever you ended up on the spectrum, I am so grateful because you guys are the #1 reason this whole thing goes down. And so I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Josh just went ape shit. Like, he's entered so many times. I don't even, like, I need to do something special for you, bro. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it. Road to Recovery appreciates it. Cameron appreciates it. I just don't even know how to say thank you enough. So Josh, thank you, bro. Now, getting back to the bike and a few things I just realized I didn't mention, just other things I purchased to tie this whole thing together, things I don't receive support on, so I forget, not people I tag. I went ahead and did some wave type rotors, front and rear. The front brake is an oversized 270mm full floater type. All the guts inside the brakes, seals, all those type of things. Tires, things like the frame that was done by Moss Brothers in Livermore, California. They did an amazing job on all the powder coating. I did stainless steel brake lines, both front and rear. Tubes, rim strips, rim locks, all the stuff you don't see inside the wheels. Obviously, everything is brand spanking new. One thing I did forget to mention that I just realized, not only did we use the Bolt Pro Pack on the bike, but we also used the Bolt engine fastener kit. It's a complete kit, and one of the cool things about it is that not only does it have everything you need to get the engine together, he's actually the main reason the engine is even held together. Those kits also have a dished head bolt, so it's like a faux tie look. It looks really cool. It looks really factory. I actually had a spare Bolt Motorcycle Hardware engine fastener kit on the rack back here, and so I stole a couple bolts out of it, and I was sticking those into different parts on the bike to keep everything matching. So like the chain guide on the bottom of the swing arm that has the dished head bolts in it. Jim Hassiker made fun of me because I had a regular round head bolt holding one of the pipe exhaust hangers on the Huga pipe. So he totally called me out. That's actually what started the whole thing. I went ahead and put the dished head bolts in there. And so guys, all in all, I'm really pumped on this creation. I'm extra pumped to be able to give it to one of you guys. I'm ultra grateful for the support, and I can't wait to cut a couple of checks to Road to Recovery and Cameron. Excited to see where we end up at the end of this contest. This is the first time I've done it in this format. Last giveaway bike I did was a raffle, and I was just sort of testing the waters. And so thank you guys for helping me blow this up. It's been a really great success. Still pretty small by most standards, but it's really allowed me to connect with you guys and try and comment to everybody. A lot more emails, I'm able to help a lot more people. So it's been really great, and I can't wait to do it again, because from here, we're just gonna keep growing. We did have some stupid ass scammers. I told you guys are gonna keep coming back, and they have. Just keep blocking them and reporting them for me. And so I think I've made it most of the way through my list on the bike build, and now I want to talk to you guys about what's left to give away and when I'm gonna give it away. Now, first things first, I'm going to do a live stream on April 16th, and don't worry, I'm gonna list all this stuff in the description below so you know when and where to be. I'm gonna go ahead and live stream the grand finale. I'm gonna go ahead and give away all of the extra MX parts, which we'll get to in a second, and then lastly, we're going to award this bike to one of you lucky bastards. And so one interesting thing about this upcoming live stream is that, as mentioned earlier, we just found out we're moving back to Idaho. We need to start packing pretty much immediately and leave pretty much right away. So whether I am on the side of Highway 80 in Nevada on a laptop doing the live stream, or I'm in some one-car garage at some apartment, I don't really know where I'm going to end up, and I'll explain that in a second. It doesn't matter where it's going to be. If I got to use my cell phone in an outhouse at a truck stop, I'm going to do it. So no worries there. It's going down April 16th. Again, look below for details. And if you've entered the contest, I'm going to go ahead and reiterate all this in an email. So if you guys entered the contest, you obviously provided me with your email address. I'll forward you all that information. No worries there. Now, the reason we're leaving so quickly is because my wife just accepted a job. So we're gonna head out that way. Problem is, we own a home out there. We have tenants in it right now. Their whole lease doesn't expire till May 31st. So we need to find an in-between spot. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with the shop, the trailer shop. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the 13 motorcycles I just counted that I didn't realize I had. But we'll figure something out. And when we finally land, we're gonna be cooking with gas. I'm gonna really be rolling like a mother, you know what. Anyways, enough about my life. Guys, these are the things I have yet to give away in the grand finale of giveaway parts and awarding the bike. And I'm going to start off the top of my head, and I'm going to check my phone and figure it out from there. So right off the bat, I know I have 3 DecalWorks complete full custom graphics kits to give away still. DecalWorks was kind enough to donate 5 graphics kits to this cause. I've given away 2 in the regular video series giveaways, so I've got 3 of those left. I have 2 sets of the 3DP Moto 3D printed brake line guides, front and rear. Josh kicked in 5, I've given away 3, so I've got some brake line guides custom for your bike coming up. I already told you guys I have 2 brand new Billetron carburetors to give away. Mind you, all of this stuff has a pretty hefty price tag. Decal kits are like 300 bucks. Billetron carbs are like 500 bucks, over 500 bucks. I've got 2 cylinder heads to give away from Luke at Fathead Racing. Thank you, Austin, for donating yours back into the contest. Austin actually won one of the cylinder heads in a previous episode and didn't have a 2-stroke, so he said, let's go ahead and get somebody stoked. I'm gonna put mine back in. So I've had a couple of you guys do that during this contest, and I'm grateful. That is very giving and I appreciate it. Kind of keeps with the theme of things here. I have one more Sano metal finishing giveaway to do. That is ceramic coatings for your brakes, front and rear, calipers, master cylinders, all of it. You'll be able to get those redone. I've got one more complete suspension rebuild, both front and rear, fork seals, bushings, oil, labor, all of it. Given away 2 of those already. I've got one left. Thank you to Brandon at AHM Factory Services for agreeing to do that. I've got 2 Bolt Motorcycle Hardware engine fastener kits. I have at least 1 Bolt Motorcycle Hardware Pro Pack left, maybe 2, I have to check. I've got a custom seat cover to give one of you guys from Pete at Traction MX. I have 2 more sets of the Onium Pro goggles, a brand new goggle that just dropped a couple months ago. And here's the part where I check my phone because I don't remember. There we go, my phone list got me back on track. I've got another set of handlebars from Jason Gerald at Phoenix to give away, and looks like I have another Prey Tee and Grips care package. So one of the Phoenix handlebars t-shirts and a set of grips. I've got one of those awesome ZRT throttles to give away. I've got 2 more $100 no toil gift cards. So you guys will have $100 each. Whoever wins those, you can go on a shopping spree on their website, get on the no toil system. Honestly, you should be anyways. It is the best stuff I have ever used. It is so easy to use, so clean. Throw these things in my washing machine and just clean all my filters like 6 at a time. I mean, you can't beat that. I don't have to put them in a bucket of gas and get my hands all messed up. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for all of the MX parts giveaways I have left to do. So I have quite a bit of stuff left. I saved them on purpose for the end, for this grand finale. Huge thanks to all of my sponsors, all of you guys who take care of me, who take care of my riders. If you think about it, all of those giveaways got me through 10 episodes of giveaways. And I still have a ton of shit left to give away. And not only have they been insanely generous to me and to you guys, but they believe in me. I love that. And these bikes would not get built the same way without them. So huge thanks to all of you. I cannot wait to keep kicking ass together. This is so much fun. I'm literally building my dream life doing this. So again, thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to share some of the awesome highlights with you. The reveal videos are one thing, but I wanted to do one more in-depth video, tell you about the live stream, tell you about all the rad shit you're gonna be able to win, tell you about when I was gonna do it. And so if you entered the contest, guys, I appreciate you beyond words. Keep on the lookout for an email from me. I'm going to let you guys know when the live stream is going to be. And even if you miss the live stream, it's not really a big deal if you win the bike or any of the other parts. I'm going to reach out to you. And I'm not going to do it in the comments under WhatsApp. So guys, keep your wits about you on that scammer shit. If you haven't entered the contest yet, I'd love it if you did. I'd be super grateful. You got to stop sleeping on this thing. If you're watching this video on the release date, you have about 2.5 weeks left. Link below. You can also go ahead and smash this little card right here. I'll make it real easy for you. So guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Looking forward to a future issue of Dirt Bike Magazine with your bike THNDRCRAKR in it. And until next time, I will see you soon.